What is up, everybody? We are back with JCP End Zone Perspective. We are back for the NFL Week 2 show, and I am joined by my lovely co-host, Chooch and Cole.
What's up with it?
We have, again, an exciting episode for you guys. We, of course, as always, going to go into some NFL news, and then we'll sort of feed you what happened over Week 2, all the games that happened. And then we're going to go into our top 5 ranking fantasy teams. Well, not fantasy teams, fantasy players that we
He was
have.
close.
And then I was close. And then we're going to give a little TED talk to the refs at the end because they need a little they need a talking to.
Yes.
All right, let's kick it off with some NFL news with a little minor thing, but I thought it was pretty cool. Matt Stafford is going to be in season 2 of the Netflix quarterback show, which I
Good
like a
move.
lot. I think the first season it was Patrick Mahomes, which is like the best quarterback in the league, then Marcus Mariota, and then Kirk Cousins, which is like a pretty big fall off from the first guy that you got. So the fact that they're going to get old guys too, like Matt Stafford has been in the league, they're also going to get Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers for season 2. So I might actually watch this one.
Well, there ain't much of a Aaron Rodgers season to follow, so
No.
Yeah, unfortunately.
sadly, I was actually kind of looking forward to that.
But yeah, I'll be watching season 2 if Matt Stafford's on there. Anyway, we have the NFLPA sort of talking about the current situation going on, how like every NFL player is dropping like a fly because of the amount of injuries with Achilles and ACLs and just everything you can think of. But they NFLPA executive director Lloyd Howell statement on the NFL field surfaces, saying moving all stadium fields to high quality natural grass surfaces is the easiest decision the NFL can make, and that the players overwhelmingly like the grass a lot more, and that the statistics show that there's a lot less injuries on natural grass. I don't. For me, I don't know the exact reasons why. It probably something like it's softer to land on. It's I'm gonna think something like that. Yeah. What do you guys think about this move? Like, is it a good move? Is it too do you think it's too expensive? It'll be difficult.
No, it's going to cost the NFL $12 million. It's already been shown, done. It's going to cost them $12 million to do this. So
Yeah. We're just thankful that that players aren't playing in like the Raiders' old stadium that was just a baseball park.
Exactly.
yeah, when guys are getting cut up.
Yeah,
Well,
I really think
on top of that too, guys, at the end of the day, it's not about the money. It's just we don't want to see another Nick Chubb incident. We don't want to see, what happened to Joe Burrow a little bit ago, or like I was talking about
or J.K. Dobbins.
a few years ago. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins, or a few years ago, Heath Miller had that awful injury. Something has to change.
Yeah. Anyway, on to some trades. Before this show started, I was going to talk about how Cam Akers is on the trade block, and what realistic trade could we see happening. But then Cole provided me with beautiful information that I did not see. But Cam Akers went to the Vikings for a 7th round pick in the 2026 draft, it was a sixth pick in the 2026 draft.
Can we say fleece?
Yeah. Can you say robbed and stabbed in the back? I don't get all right, Cam Akers is not all right. He's not like a top 10 quarterback, running back, not a top 10 running back, but he's still a solid running back, I would say. And I'd say at least a 3rd or a 4th, at least, not a 4,000th overall safety from no-name college. And I'm not saying players that are not great can't be drafted in the 6th round. There are players who have been great and drafted undrafted.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly. But still,
Brock Purdy.
okay, I get it. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying. They could have gotten a lot more, and I don't know. I don't see why the Rams were just like, all right, we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, to me, this seemed like a very rushed move because it was like you could have gotten a lot more or did a lot better in this situation, and you were just like, oh, somebody offered me? Sweet, let's do it.
Yeah. I don't know why they just jumped right away because he was put on the trade block like what 2 days ago yesterday,
Yeah, 3 days.
like yeah 3 days ago. So I don't know why like this was probably like one of the first offers that they got. And it's like all right, time to go. Come on, off you go, Cam.
Get
Yeah.
out there, boy.
I hope Cam Akers does horrible in Minnesota because I'm a Lions.
Wow, that's rough, dude. He had a house in LA probably. Now he's gonna move to Detroit, I mean, to Minnesota. All
Detroit.
places. Sorry, I was getting ready to bash that awful city, but
Anyway,
yeah.
Kareem Hunt just signed with the Browns as of today. I'm pretty sure signing a 1-year deal for $4 million. This was expected that the Browns would pick up a running back since Nick Chubb's like, oh my god, I don't even want to.
Oh,
Yeah, you can't even blame that one on turf.
no.
No,
That's the product of defenders not being able to hit anywhere up high anymore, so they have to hit low. And
True.
this is what happens when you hit low. You take a guy's knees out, and
well,
literally take a guy's knee out. He's lucky he didn't rupture an artery with that hit.
True.
yeah, we'll get into that later though when we go into the injury report. But yeah, I think this is a good offer, a good deal, especially for $4 million, a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I
Let
mean,
Kareem
in
Hunt
terms
play.
of value, this is a
Mhm.
tremendous move by the Browns because, I know a lot of people are freaking out and they're going, well, what are they going to do without Nick Chubb? It's like, Kareem Hunt is not the worst thing in the world. I mean, he's a very good, very capable running back, and I think he's going to pick up right where Nick Chubb left off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and well, like we said, Ford, yeah, Fords. Hold on, we're gonna double
Ford.
check that right now.
It's Ford.
Is it Ford?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Ford. He's fantastic. He's a great running back. He really, really excels catching the ball in the backfield too, and he's got really good vision, very shifty. So I think he's
Yeah.
going to help along with Kareem being able to just kind of run under folks. So
Also, for anyone for anyone watching and notice a little different, thank you StreamYard. We're not sponsored, but thank you for offering this service. This is a lot better than what we were recording with.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a ticker on the bottom, doing like having what we're talking about. This is amazing. But yeah, this is an absolute steal. And sort of end off with this NFL news. It's not even NFL, but it's about college. The Travis Hunter hit was pretty. Yeah,
Gruesome.
yeah. When I first watched it, I watched it like a couple days ago, and when you first seen it, it was like, oh, it was he didn't just he just forgot to move out of the way. And then you seen replay, and it's like, no, he was there for like 2-3 seconds and stood there and literally propped his shoulders up to hurt this guy. And unfortunately, he did with Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, look, like Deion Sanders put it perfect. This is a guy who's trying to make, you know, uh, it in the NFL, and he's going to do things that, to try and get noticed, and he made a mistake. and he owned up to that mistake. And it's unfortunate that some fans took it a step extra and put death threats to this kid who's just trying to play a game. Death threats should never be a thing, especially to a player.
Especially a young player who's trying to get a name in college.
Yeah.
What a class act by Dion.
Yeah, and that speaks for the character of Dion that has been questioned by a lot of people.
Yeah.
After the Jackson State move, after hearing how he is with these people now and what he said, kind of hard to not take this side what's happened. So, but he teaches these kids well to be more than just football players. He teaches them how to be men too, which is nice.
Yes.
Did you guys hear that Deion Sanders is like bringing this really, really old fan to these games and like dancing with her? Did you guys hear about that?
Yes.
We love that. We see videos of like him and her in the locker room dancing to the songs, and everyone's around him. All right, you want to go into the bad part about this show and go into the injury report and just see how many players, because it's bad. Injury report time. Here we go. All right, let's get the biggest one out of the way. Nick Chubb's potential could have been career-ending injury, and possibly still career-ending injury with that hit. That it's rough to talk about just from the brutality. It's so it's bad when the NFL will not post about it. Like,
right.
I mean, not post about it, but like they won't post the injury replay at all. Like, that's how you know it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing about this is, and it kind of like going back to what Chuch said about this, it's like when you're so restrictive on, okay, well, don't launch. That's kind of how it started with, don't launch. And then it gets switched to, don't lead with the crown of the helmet. And you're scaring these guys because it's like, if you do the wrong thing, even unintentionally, you're still going to get flagged for it. So, how do you combat that? You have to go low.
Yeah.
And there's, sorry, Jacob, before you.
No, you're good. You're good.
And, some of these low hits, like, I'm surprised this isn't a more common injury with how some of these low hits are. And, like, you can hit a guy in the thighs, but the second you go below the knees, you're risking an injury. I mean, you're risking a career.
Right.
I mean, we've seen that with Teddy Bridgewater, Alex Smith. This is Nick Chubb's second awful knee injury. I think the same leg.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
So
it's
it's
going to be horrible if he comes back and he's just not the same.
Yeah, I mean, in my eyes, that's the best running back in football.
Yeah, easily. A better Derrick Henry, if you will.
Hey, what's up, AJ? Good to see you in the comments.
Nice to see you, AJ. By the way, you will see AJ tomorrow.
Yes, on the college football show.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next injury. So Odell Beckham. This is a minor injury compared to the last one, especially. But Odell Beckham, I think it was something with his ankle, but it's not a serious injury. Luckily, he's not going to be out for I think it was only like maybe 2 games he'd miss. A reporter literally asked Harbaugh, and he laughed it off. So that's how you know that he's all good.
Yeah, I mean, it's really scary to think about because of how much AJ.
AJ?
Wow. I was thinking about AJ because OBJ is like one of his favorite players, so forgive me on that, folks. But OBJ, he gets injured like every other, beginning of the year. So I think it's just a matter of almost time before, his career ends and he calls it quits. So these injuries, they are going to catch up to him, and he's got to figure out a way to take better care of his body and get more durable,
Sorry, Mr. Maddox, for not shouting you out as well.
Shout out to Maddox.
Yeah, he's my physics teacher, so that's nice. But yeah, I'm just glad it wasn't a minor injury. Well, it was a minor injury. I'm just glad if it's any injury, I'm glad it's not nothing too serious. Anyway, Anthony Richardson got a concussion when he was facing the Texans the other day, and he was doing really good before that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mr. Maddox.
Spitting facts out here.
Right. But yeah, Anthony Richardson concussion. I really hope this doesn't affect him like in the long run with what we see with like Tua. And luckily Tua isn't showing a lot of signs that he was that the concussions last year affected him as of right now. But I just really hope this doesn't affect Anthony Richardson.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially with him being a rookie, that's the scariest part of this equation because it's like, you know, you really don't know what you're made of until you get those first big hits in the pros. At least, that's what we hear so much. So, it's all about how Anthony Richardson is going to respond after taking this injury, and that was a nasty one too. Like I'm glad it wasn't worse, but if you watch it, his head spiked back, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is that these helmets now are designed to kind of take hits like that for a reason.
Yeah,
So,
but they're still like it's gonna
they're
be pretty bad.
They're still pretty vicious. Yeah.
David Montgomery, running back for the Lions, he had a quad bruise. He will be out for about 3 to 4 weeks. It says on ESPN. So that sucks. He's on my fantasy, so he better come back and hurry it up because I can't wait for him that long. In all reality, I really hope he does get better. That will be pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, fantasy jokes aside, it's very scary, especially for him because, like OBJ, he's getting up there in age. I think he's what, 28 now?
I think about
I
that.
think he's 30, 31.
31?
Yeah.
26, you liar.
Really?
Yeah. He's not that old. Yeah, he's 26 years old.
And then, the other injury, I'm gonna beat you to the punch here because if you know anything about me, I don't get to do this much. So Jacob, I'm getting you this time. Shaq
Okay.
Thompson had to get carted off with an ankle injury on Monday. That was scary.
Yeah. That was that was really scary, yeah.
Like especially with an ankle injury, because I know Chooch was off on the last time when he said like the age, but with Shaq Thompson, he actually is old. Like he's like ancient in terms of football. So I honestly think this might be his final injury. He's been battling and battling, but I this might be where he hangs it up.
His final injury.
Odell and I aren't the same age. Odell was in college when I was in middle school, guy.
I didn't say that.
No, I meant like I got the age thing wrong on Odell. I did. He's 31. Born in 90. He was born in 92.
Montgomery was who you got wrong.
Oh, I thought he said Odell, didn't he?
Anyway, Deontay Johnson on the Pittsburgh Steelers, wide receiver. He has an injury as well. He's placed on injury reserve as the moment. And then Buda Baker, strong safety for the Cardinals, also placed on a hamstring injury. So, if any injury, that's that won't be taken out for long.
Right.
Yeah. And then Jalen Waddle. So, do you think Jalen Waddle him being injured, he has a concussion protocol as of right now. So, do you think that's going to affect the Dolphins a lot?
Um, it depends on how far this goes because at the end of the day, if he's seriously injured and it takes like maybe a few weeks for a full recovery, that's when it gets scary. But if it's just for a game or maybe like a game time decision, no, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, because a lot of the passes as of right now have been to Tyreek, which we can see in fantasy a lot. Um, so yeah, especially with what we've seen last year with Tua, you don't want to rush concussions. You really don't. Which that's an obvious thing to say, but after last year of what we've seen with how Tua kind of rushed them, you don't want to do that.
Not at all.
So this kind of hurts Chooch a little bit. Saquon Barkley injured against the game with the Cardinals on an ankle roll up. I'm pretty sure it's what it's saying. But that's gonna hurt the Giants a little bit. Not a lot.
Nothing new there. Nothing new there.
Yeah. As of right now, it doesn't really. It's just an ordinary sprain, so it's expected just only a couple weeks at most, like 2 games at most. I'm sure AJ's not happy with that one either.
Yeah, no, AJ's punching the ground somewhere.
Devontae Adams also got injured. Evaluated for concussion. Jesus.
Another one.
Another concussion. We need a concussion ticker in the bottom.
We do.
No. Not at all.
No. It filled up to about 100.
Also, I'm curious, since we know AJ's Mr. Maddox, what is your favorite NFL team if you got one?
Yeah. We'd love to hear that.
And anybody else who's watching.
Darnell Mooney, wide receiver for the Chicago Bears, also down. It says it has a knee injury he got with facing the Buccaneers. So, I mean, with how the Bears are going right now, it's not going to affect them that much because, the Bears are being the Bears right now.
Exactly. At the end of the day, the Bears, I don't know what to make of them. Everybody, was so excited about them, and they have just not clicked. So no, Mooney being out is not going to kill them.
All right. I think we can end it off with and the injury report with this injury with CJ Gardner Johnson. I think it was said a pectoral tear. I'm pretty sure, and that's gonna be bad. Like I will cut my pec off for him. I will donate it to CJ Gardner Johnson so that he can play for the Lions. We do, and again, we do wish the best to all these players, and we hope that they can make a speedy recovery, and we hope that they get the well-deserved time off that they do. Especially Nick Chubb, that one.
Don't rush back, big guy. Don't rush back.
If you need to take next season off, do it because
he's probably gonna have to.
That was bad. Yeah, I literally in school I was like, "Did you see the Nick Chubb?" No, I don't watch football. Let me show you anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, and the reactions were
awful.
as you would say, yeah, as you would think. All right, it's time to go in the games now for week 2. Eagles versus Vikings. Eagles win the game 34-28. Jalen Hurts did not look impressive in this game by the slightest, but they were still able to pull the victory off. He threw, I think, wasn't it like 2 picks or something like that? 2 or 3 picks.
Yeah, I mean, it did not look like a typical Jalen Hurts game because, ultimately we're used to, the safe, smart, occasional, rolling out, being a threat on his feet, and he really wasn't all that. The Eagles have really taken quite a few steps back as a whole. So it'll be interesting. They're definitely not living up to expectations. And to answer your question, Jalen Hurts had 1 pick in
Oh,
this
I thought I
game.
seen 2 for some reason.
No.
No, and
But yeah.
I really think that defenses kind of saw that, hey, they can't push the ball more than 50 yards downfield. So as long as we can keep AJ and Devontae kind of contained and somehow contain the run game, we should be good.
Yeah.
I mean, but DeAndre Swift pulled them through. That's why they went and got him.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift is doing crazy right now in the NFL. Like it was like when the Lions traded him away to the Giants, not Giants, the Eagles. I was like, oh, that kind of sucks, but he didn't really do anything for us anyway. Then he goes to the Eagles and he decides to actually play well, and it's like, oh, you just had to go to a different team and actually do well.
Well, and
Kirk,
honestly, that type of a running back was what the Eagles were missing too, because, no diss on Miles Sanders, but there is a difference between a Georgia running back and a Penn State running back, and it's not close.
yeah, and Kirk Cousins actually did really well, throwing for 364 yards with 4 touchdowns. So, and again, I'm not the biggest Kirk Cousins lover, but
Kirk Chains.
no. Yeah, 31 for 44. This wasn't Jalen Hurts' game, but I think he's really lucky to have that team around him to pull that win off that was not going in the favor of Jalen Hurts. Just making mistakes a lot. All right. Time to go into the second game, though. Ravens versus Bengals. Ravens win it by 27-24. I watched this whole game, and Joe Burrow doesn't look like Joey B. He does not look like Joe Shiesty as of right now. It could have been the injury, I feel like, that he sustained during training camp that he kind of is just like pushing off. But yeah, what do you guys think about this game?
You go first.
Man, the calf to a point, but there hasn't been a real good connection there with him and Jamar so far this year from what I've seen. I mean, I know people are probably honing in a lot more on those two, but the calf kind of limits his mobility and his ability to plant and throw better. So it could play a big factor in that, but yeah.
Honestly, what pisses me off about the people who talk about the Bengals, it's like, look at the Bengals ever since Joe Burrow has got there, and the story is literally the exact same. They have a rough week 1, rough week 2, maybe even a rough week 3, and then they play a cupcake, and then they start destroying teams. So I'm not worried at all about this. I think they'll figure it out this week against the Rams. But as for the game, though, I mean, Burrow, he didn't really play all that bad if you look at the stats. I mean, 27 for 41, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and only got sacked 1 time. I don't get this whole notion of, oh, Joe Burrow's really struggling. I mean, yeah, I kind of get it early in the game, but otherwise than that, I mean, not bad.
I was gonna say he kind of picked it up in the later in the third and fourth quarter, like late third quarter.
He got hit 5 times that game compared to Cincinnati only hitting Lamar once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Lamar is wearing off his rust, as you can see. I'm somewhat of a Lamar Jackson fan, so
just a little.
A little bit. Totally not my favorite quarterback in the league, but I think the kind of weak game he had for week 1 kind of, he just rusted off a bit. Yeah, I think we're gonna get the Lamar back.
Also, can I say that this Ravens defense is flying to the football?
Yeah,
I was
like,
gonna say that.
I seen
yeah.
that pick. I was like, that was a pick. That was really that was like really fast. How he just like ran to the ball as fast as possible. But yeah, I also think the Bengals defense isn't clicking as well as they should right now.
Agreed.
All right, time to go to the Seahawks versus Lions. Now this game made me mad. This
I
game
wonder
what
why.
made me upset. Not just the fact that Aiden Hutchinson was getting held like every single play, but Amon-Ra St. Brown went down, C.J. Gardner-Johnson went down, just as we discussed in the injury report, and then Dave Montgomery went down. So this game got me upset, especially when the last play of the game in overtime, when the Seahawks scored a touchdown, and the commentators literally pointed out, "Oh, it looks like Aiden Hutchinson was getting held here." End of the game, Seahawks win it. Like, no, dude, go back, do something. This is in Ford Field. You can't do this. The day when Barry Sanders' statue gets put up, and then you let this happen. Ugh.
I mean, that is the most Detroit thing to happen.
True.
You know
I
this.
guess. Yeah, I guess. Like, I really wish that they would have at least thrown a flag for the Aiden Hutchinson hole. And this has been happening since the Chiefs game as well. He was getting held all game, and the refs were not noticing it. Like, they were just like looking at every other player besides Aiden Hutchinson. And I don't get it because he gets held the most on that team. Like, I don't know.
we'll save that conversation for a little later for the referees and the holding thing. And just
But
Well,
yeah, overall, it was an entertaining game.
It
Hey,
was.
Gino looked like Gino, and Jared Dot's, back to his.
Yeah,
Back to
I mean, I'm gonna say this. Usually, this game, you think about it and you're like, okay, it'll probably be a defensive showing because both of these teams' defenses are a lot better than people give credit, in my opinion. Um, so I thought this would be a lower scoring game, but it was very different. Amon-Ra St. Brown did his thing. Sam Laporta looked really good.
Josh
Jameer
Reynolds.
Gibbs.
Josh
Yeah,
Reynolds.
I was gonna say Josh Reynolds has really stepped up. Jameer Gibbs really took a step back this week. I was kind of surprised,
Yeah.
but David Montgomery picked up the slack.
Mm-hmm. I think the Seahawks' run stopping defense had a little to do with that.
Right.
I think the Seahawks don't have as focus more on like the run stopping defense, if anything, especially with fast guys like Jameer. They want to get him quick. Don't want to
Which
let
is
anything
kind of sad though, because all offseason, all I kept hearing was, "Oh, the Legion of Boom is back. No fly
Yeah.
zone in Seattle."
Rams score 30 points. The worst team last year scored 30 points on you. It's like,
yeah, but
what?
that's that. I mean, that's just been the league this year, though.
True.
Yeah. It's like last year. The NFL is lost in the sauce right now. You can't, it's just a weird season. Yeah, I was really upset when they didn't say anything about Aiden Hutchinson getting held. All right. Time to move to the Falcons versus Packers game. Falcons win this game 25-24. Kind of unexpected. Unexpected to a lot of people, but I kind of expected this since people were praising the Packers for beating the Bears, which is like a given at this point. So, yeah, I don't see why people were really surprised at this. The Falcons do look a lot better this year than they did last year.
Right.
With Bijan Robinson as well. Yeah.
See, I was gonna bring that up too. Like, we really are being shown the identity of this Atlanta team. You know, they rely heavily on Algier and Bijan Robinson, and it kind of makes me upset because this wide receiving core is really good. You know, you got Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts, you got Jonnu Smith. And it's like, all right, don't get me wrong. If you want to be a run first team, fine, but add a little bit more balance. Every other play, it's Bijan Robinson or Algier. And it's like, why not get Drake London or Kyle Pitts involved in the game? Like, it makes me scratch my head.
Because
Yeah.
that makes too much sense, Cole.
True.
We have
That's
these three shiny new toys in the backfield we can use.
Yeah, and the old classic rusty toys are here. But they still work just as good. They just don't look as pretty because they're old. Also, I think Desmond Ritter we overlooked a lot in this offseason.
True.
Like, oh, it's Desmond Ritter, you know, whatever. He's not as good. He's not that great. And then he's doing really good actually. Especially the Packers D. I just think they're doing amazing, right? Pretty good.
I
right
was
now.
gonna say too, and safe with the ball. He only had one interception.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look at Jordan Love, another good game, not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we can bash on the kid all we want a little bit for what he looked like last year, last couple times he's played, but I mean, hey, he's doing a decent job. He knows he's gonna take it in strides, and you know, maybe the philosophy is patience.
Yeah. I think he's doing really good this year. Anyway, on to the next game. Bills versus Raiders. Bills take this win 38-10. Not surprising. You
No.
can't Raiders, you can't win off of good looks with your quarterback. I'm sorry. Jimmy G's handsome, we all know it, but you can't win just off that principle.
The Raiders defense was actually giving Buffalo's offense some fits there for a minute.
Yeah, and then
Like that actually wasn't that close. Like that was all the second that was all the second quarter there that put them up. And that wasn't until late in the second quarter.
Josh Allen scoring as many touchdowns as he did interceptions last week, so that was pretty nice of him. Next, I'm trying to find the stats. Okay, he had 274 yards, 31 completions out of 37 attempts. He got sacked 2 times, so that's, you know. But last week he got sacked 5 times, so this is a big improvement.
Well, what I was gonna say is, you know, like Chooch was saying, you know, about the Vegas defense, like, yeah, they played really well, and it's just the age-old thing in football of like, you know, if your defense is out there the whole game, you're going to give up a lot of points because eventually they're going to get gassed, and that's what happened here. Jimmy G did this team no favors. He threw 2 picks and a touchdown, but I mean, you know, 2 picks, didn't get sacked at all. Vegas's offense has got to figure it out if they want to be considered legit.
Yeah. Jimmy Garoppolo, would you agree that they got lucky last week against the
I think
Broncos?
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I especially feel bad for Russell Wilson. I'll get into it actually in the Broncos game. But this is, you know, I'm just happy to see Josh Allen sort of like, okay, I played really bad last game. Let me dominate this sort of lackluster defense at the Raiders. So,
yeah.
And that's what he did. He again threw as many touchdowns as he did interceptions last week. So
also Matt Milano continues to prove he's one of the most underrated linebackers in football.
Yes. Yeah.
I
think so.
And then also James Cook, man, 17 carries, 123 yards.
Yeah, that's
Buffalo ran
good.
the ball a lot that game, so that was nice to see.
Yeah, with I think when entering this game, especially coming from last week, they were like, all right, let's have Josh sort of ease into it, not just have him pass the ball every single play. Still getting 31 completions is pretty good. It's really good, especially out of 37 attempts.
Well, I also think too, like that had to be a focal point throughout the week. Like, all right, we have to get Josh Allen's support. If Josh Allen thinks he has to do it all alone, we're gonna have a repeat of last week.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next game, though, Titans versus Chargers. Titans take this win 27-24. This is pretty surprising considering I thought the Chargers would beat them. Chargers, unfortunately, fall to 0-2 so far in the season. Like, I don't know. I don't know how Ryan Tannehill wins these games.
It's because his defense is incredible, and the Chargers defense can't let any team score less than 27 points ever. So, that's what it comes down to. But I mean, Tannehill 20 of 24, 246. I mean, one tutty, but that's what Derrick Henry's for.
Keenan Allen popped off this game. Eight receptions with 111 yards.
Yeah.
That, like, with only 8 receptions and 2 touchdowns. That's insane.
Yeah, Mike Williams, and you see Herbert threw for 305 yards. Like, yeah, they probably did really well. Yeah, no, they yeah.
Lost again.
Justin Herbert throwing for 305 yards with 2 interceptions going to Keenan Allen. Showing that old guys are, they can be old, but they can still be good. Yeah, I just, Titans, they lost last week by to the Saints last week. Man. Can Justin Herbert just win one game so we can be happy, please? Just one game. Please.
Look, I'm not the biggest Justin Herbert guy. I will
Me neither.
state that,
but I respect him.
You got to give the guy credit for, what he did. 305 passing yards and 2 TDs, and you still lose because head coaching and defense is just utter incompetence.
Thank you. Thank you for making that point for me.
Yep.
You beat me to it.
Plus Derrick Henry, 25 carries with 80 yards and 1 touchdown. That's a lot of carries.
Yeah.
But he's Derrick Henry. Just brush it off.
He's a workhorse.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because you got Ryan Tannehill throwing the ball. You have to be. Anyway, you had next game, Buccaneers versus Bears. This was a pretty exciting game for a Bucs fan to watch. Mike Evans, even crazier than Keenan Allen's thing. 6 receptions for 171 yards for 1 TD too. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think here too. Like, I know everybody, if you look on the internet, is talking about Baker Mayfield, but you gotta think he got sacked 0 times. That is a huge tip of the cap to the offensive line. And then also this defense, they balled out. I mean, 6 sacks and 2 interceptions. Like, yeah, they're them.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say that this Tampa Bay team is better than we predicted. What, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
3.
And that what a lot of people thought. A lot of people thought that this offense was going to be Baker and Mike Evans trying to make something work, and them being the only bright spot while the defense works its butt off to make this game close. When in reality, both are doing just as much work, but the defense is just, I think, better than their Super Bowl year.
You think so?
I won't disagree.
Yeah, every time you see a Tampa Bay highlight in the middle of a game, what is happening? They're forcing a turnover, or someone got destroyed because Devin White decided his feelings were hurt.
I'm glad he didn't mention the other
earlier in the game. Oh, you mean Vita Vea?
Darn it.
Yeah. A little backstory in Madden Vita Vea would absolutely destroy Cole in every game. So he has a little PTSD towards Vita Vea.
We don't bring up that name here.
We
I
can't bring
still
it
have
up every game.
nightmares.
We'll talk about Vita Vea a lot for the Bucks every game. But yeah, Baker Mayfield. I had them going a little above the Cardinals, but now I can see them going, potentially making the playoffs if they keep on doing what they're doing.
There's 3 sneaky good teams in that division, and it's Tampa, New Orleans, and Atlanta. Also, can we just talk about DJ Moore? 6 receptions, 104 yards.
He does work. Yeah, I mean, DJ Moore has really stepped up in a huge way because, Darnell Mooney getting injured, and this team is just like, all right, whatever you got, it's on
Right.
you.
Just get out there, and then if you drop the ball, you'll get released.
Yes.
But next game, Chiefs versus Jaguars. Jaguars.
The Jaguars.
Chiefs win this game 17-9. I thought it would be closer. Like I expected the Titans Chargers score 27-24 in this game, but 17-9 is a little unexpected. I feel like. Chiefs. I expected the Chiefs to get more touchdowns too, just because of the Chiefs.
I honestly expected Jacksonville's passing game to kind of tear apart the Kansas City secondary, but
right,
they couldn't. Jacksonville couldn't run. Jacksonville didn't run.
Is Chris Jones being in there the reason why you think?
No.
All that money for nothing.
I don't think Jacksonville's O-line is good enough yet still.
No? They need a couple more drafts or trades.
Yeah, I think they just need a bit more time. I think they'll be better come like last year, right? Like they were kind of but the offense is better now this year than it was last year at this time. So everything came together, but now the O-line just needs to kind of do its thing like it did last year, and it'll be fine.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Jacksonville ran the ball 18 times the whole game. 18. And the Chiefs ran the ball 22 times all game. If you run the ball less than the Chiefs and you're not the Chiefs, you have problems.
Yeah, I would say that.
I can't put it any simpler.
Patrick Mahomes, 41 attempts with 29 completions with 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, leading him to 2 interceptions for this season from another one going to last week as well. So I'm happy about that. Superman's falling down. I'm glad we didn't get to see any ESPN highlights of him throwing like a 2-yard pass and praising it to be like the greatest play ever shown.
I mean, dude, he's like the greatest player ever. Come on.
Yeah, no one can make a 5-yard pass, man.
No.
All right, Colts versus Texans. This is the game where Anthony Richardson went down. And we got to see a little bit of CJ Stroud as well. A lot better than what we did week 1 against the Ravens.
I was going to say...
Still not as impressive as people are hoping, I would say.
CJ Stroud, man, give him credit. I watched this game from kickoff to the last second in the fourth quarter. So, this guy, he battled adversity all game. I mean, he got sacked 6 times. He kept the ball safe. Yeah, I mean, no picks, no fumbles from him. So, that's huge. Or excuse me, no. He fumbled twice.
Yeah,
they lost one.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, aside from that, he did keep the ball safe, no picks. Um, I think this team is just trying to figure itself out, really, because it's like, okay, we're very limited in terms of, okay, we got Nico Collins, we got Tank Dell, Robert Woods is kind of okay. John Mechie came back, thank God. That was a scary situation, but we're glad he's here. And Dalton Schultz. And it's like, and Brevin Jordan, I mean, he's underrated. And you got one of the best backs in the league, in my opinion, and Damian Pierce. It's like, how do we get everybody included and how do we get this train rolling correctly? I think that's the big thing right now for the Texans. But Stroud's throwing numbers were absolutely incredible. And then for the Colts, I mean, Gardner Minshew did a phenomenal job of stepping in for Richardson after the hit. So, um, they got a lot further than the Texans are as of this moment, and that defense. I mean, they're very rock solid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Texans could be great if they just need a couple more depths and positions, and they could be as great as people want them to be.
They
And
just
click
need
on
that.
O line
Yeah.
and
Sorry.
that O line for the defense, and you could be there.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's just, as Cole said, just kind of these guys getting to play together now and just getting it all to gel and work cohesively would be. It's a super talented team, young team for the most part.
Yeah, very.
I also like their coach, D'Amico Ryans. I mean, what a job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, and Mechie came back
Yes.
Mhm.
from battling leukemia. First game back. First game,
And he got a
actually.
That
reception.
is epic.
Yeah.
Very good to see. I'm glad he came back. I'm glad he's able to come back after. You said leukemia.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm happy for him. All right, 49ers versus Rams. 49ers take this one 30-23. I did not expect the Rams to put up 23 points against San Fran's defense, but somehow they, amaze me. Puka Nacua is going off right now.
Yes.
He is insane. He's actually insane. I think it's something like he has like 300 yards and it's already week 2 or something like that.
Yeah,
It's only week
it's
2.
ridiculous.
Like, I don't know how. I really don't. Like, I don't even know if there's an explanation to this, but
So, I was talking to
Rams
somebody
are
last
amazing.
night about him, and like people have brought up the thing of like, oh well, it's not that impressive because it was only the Seahawks, and like, okay, but what about now when he's
Yeah.
doing that against the Niners?
Yeah.
What people think is some of the like best defensive players in the league right now.
I would say the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best defensive team in football. But I mean, also it was kind of rely on Matt Stafford. He threw for 55 times, and you can kind of do that when he's that good.
1 touchdown, 2 picks. But doing better than what I thought he would, though. I'm glad that the Rams are not, just how they were last year, just dying all the time, just not doing good every play. But yeah, Puka Nacua got 15 receptions for 147 yards, and he had I'm pretty sure similar stats last week. I'm gonna have to check on that. But yeah, I think if he keeps this up, he's gonna be he could possibly be maybe offensive rookie for
Yeah, the NFC.
Why can they not? Yeah, the NFC. I'm such an idiot.
Yeah,
if he keeps this up,
something to credit Sean McVay on too is I love the diversity that he's bringing to this offense in terms of rushing, because it's not only the running backs and Matthew Stafford, of course. it's Tutu Atwell and Puka as well. He found interesting ways to get playmakers the balls, and that's something that separates a great coach from a mediocre coach. So heads off to McVay on that.
Plus, when we were going into the season and we seen Cooper Kupp got injured, it's like, oh, how are the Rams going to do without their number one receiver? And they are doing more than well, I feel like. I know we're kind of praising the Rams even though they lost. So, but the 49ers did amazing winning this game 30-23. The defense, though, can step up, I feel like. Especially with the Seahawks putting up 13 points last week. So if they figure out what's going on with the defense, letting the Rams put up 23 points, even though they have Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell and Matt Stafford, they were one of the lowest ranking teams last year.
Yeah, but they didn't have Matt Stafford last year.
Yeah. They Baker Mayfield and 15 other quarterbacks.
Hey, losing by committee.
Christian McCaffrey also was big in this game. 20 carries for 116 yards and then 1 TD. God, what a beast.
He did it again, folks. Literally, I was going to bring him up, but no. Every segment, he's got to steal something from me.
I have to.
I'm going to say something that some people might not like here. I was very unimpressed with the San Francisco passing offense. Deebo Samuel did not pass 100 yards. None of their wideouts did. Kittle only had 30 yards and 3 receptions on 3 targets. Deebo Samuel only had 6 receptions on 9 targets. Brandon Ayuk, 3 catches on 6 targets for 43 yards. To me, that just screams, we don't know how to get the ball to our players in, top good positions. I mean, yeah, they still won, but this really felt like more of a loss than a win, in my opinion, for the Niners.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that, because if you have that offense and then you're you're letting the Rams score 23 points on you, or that defense letting the Rams score 23 points, you got to step up in some either coaching or help the players out a bit more. Something.
Right.
All right. On to the next game. We got the Giants and Cardinals.
I know 2 people who are somewhat.
That was a rough one.
Man.
At first, I was like, "Oh no, we suck again."
I bet Chooch was sweating. Chooch,
I was. Like I said, I said, "Oh no, we suck again." Oh no. And then all of a sudden, Daniel Jones was like, "Don't worry, guys. I'll act like I'm getting paid to play football."
Can you
Someone
imagine?
has to around here, and then he did.
The guy who thinks the Cardinals are going to go 0-17. that the Cardinals beat his team.
Maybe that was the hurdle we had to get over. It was just the Cardinals, and now we're good.
The Cardinals are looking better than I thought, though. I thought they would, putting up 28 points
because they're playing very conservative, grinded out football.
Yeah, which is not what I think they would be doing. Still lost though. Hoping to go 0-17 to get my prediction right. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what it is why the Cardinals are doing so great right now.
Can we talk about Jalen Hyatt's 2 receptions for 89 yards?
Yeah.
2
like
receptions,
I said,
2 targets. The kid's fantastic. I mean, I don't know why anyone hates this kid or what. Hey, he got out of the draft. Come on, folks.
Like I said, he is going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. But yeah, Giants did not score until the third quarter. I don't know how they could have came back. I was like, oh my god, the Cardinals are gonna beat the Giants. Chooch is gonna be
So-
so mad.
Every Giant quarterback has this evolution where they get really good at coming back from BS they shouldn't be in the first place. So Daniel
Except for last
Jones,
week.
that was just like our initial that was a really bad game, and then it hung around for the first half, and then we played actual New York Giant football, right? But that's the
Yep.
typical Giants quarterback thing. Do that.
Exactly.
Also, why
yeah.
the heck is James Conner doing good again? I played him in fantasy, just kind of as like a little sneak peek to that segment, but I was playing against him in fantasy, and literally this guy put up like 20 points last week, and I'm like, what the actual heck?
20, yeah. James Conner, 23 carries with 106 yards and 1 TD. That's
I still won,
pretty
by the way.
good. Yeah, I know you did, and I didn't, so I'm pretty upset. All right, next game though, Cowboys versus Jets. Cowboys won at 30-10. Now, as the Jets, do you try and pick up another a QB?
You definitely think about it because Zach Wilson is
Zach Wilson.
3 interceptions. I'm not going to say anything more after that.
3 interceptions.
And like, don't get me wrong, I respect the Cowboys defense. You know, they got a tremendous playmakers. I'm not knocking them, but Zach Wilson is the cancer right now that is absolutely destroying New York.
Yeah. Get Tom Brady out of retirement. Help. Oh my, can you imagine the tweet? I'm back. I'm a Jet.
I'm back again.
I'm back again after
The Jets
whatever time.
The Jets did a lot of shooting in their own foot that game.
Mhm.
Yep.
I don't know where you are even attempting to go with this. 12 for 27 for Zach Wilson, 170 yards, 1 TD, and then 3 picks. Did he inherit Josh Allen's stats from last week? I think he did.
So expect Dak Prescott to throw 3 picks this week.
Yeah. It's going to be an effect. If that happens, that actually happens, not just because you said that.
Imagine.
It'd be amazing. Because I do not like Dak Prescott.
Also,
Yeah,
I do want to make a public service/safety announcement for Cowboys fans. You guys are not back. You have played nobody. I mean this in the best way. The Giants week 1 suck. Okay, let's just be real, and they
Giants
do
just suck
not
in
look
general.
good right now. And then second off, you played the Jets, okay? Like the Jets without Aaron Rodgers. Before the season, we looked at this game and we're like, "Oh man, it might be fun." And then Aaron Rodgers just had
Died.
a terrible injury. Yeah. And then we were all like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be a bloodbath." So please don't get all excited yet. Now, if you win some big games, start talking, but right now, please don't hype yourself up for the fall.
Cole.
Yep.
They're Cowboys fans. They're gonna beat the Cardinals next week and act like they won the World Cup. You know it's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen.
I love the cross reference there, World Cup.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I
Close
said
enough.
World Cup. I'm such a dummy. I didn't want to say Super Bowl. I just said World Cup. Anyway, next game, Commanders versus Broncos. Russell Wilson he's not back, but he's coming back. And now the team decides to suck around Russell Wilson instead of vice versa.
You know what they say.
Last season, Broncos had the number 1 defense, and now they're letting the Commanders score 35 points against them. And that Hail Mary from Russell Wilson and one of the last plays was pretty it was cool to watch. I was like, it was an emotional reaction. If it was going to be dropped, it was going to be picked back up, and then it was going to be dropped again. And then it turned out to be a touchdown, which was pretty awesome. But then they failed to convert the 2-point conversion. And
That is the most Broncos thing to do.
Like, I don't know. I don't even know any notable players that they lost. That's the big thing. For, the Commander to score 35 points against what used to be the number one defense last year.
Well, that Commanders offense is a lot better with the new head coach at the helm too.
And Sam Howell.
Yeah,
that guy. I tell you what, there is
Fat Baker
a lot to not hate about that man. Listening to him talk about football, you're like, you know what? I like this guy.
But even last week against the Raiders, like losing that game where everyone thought that the Broncos would pick that up easily was just like having that even be a struggle is like, why? Just I get it. I get it that it was just the missed PAT, but still, like, I don't like, especially when Russell Wilson's in my fantasy and he's scoring a lot of points.
Yeah, I mean Russell Wilson, I cannot say enough. He's having the bounce back year I thought he would, so I'm very excited about that. I just
Still not Seahawks Russ, but still doing good.
he's getting there. It's just like it hurts because I really like, the direction that he's bringing this team in, but it just seems like they're always one play away. And also on that last play, I do want to say this. Yes, it was PI. However, if Russ, all he had to do was look left, he had Jerry Jeudy wide open. Why,
Yeah.
Russ? Why couldn't you have just thrown it to the other side?
you know Russell Wilson's luck in goal line things.
Yeah. Oh
Come
my
on.
god. Oh
Malcolm
my god.
Butler.
You had to bring that up.
Always,
right.
bro.
But yeah, Russell Wilson getting 308 yards with 3 TDs and one pick. Pretty solid game from Russ, especially last year when he threw like 5 yards for 900 attempts and then scored 5 field goals.
Hats off to Washington, by the way, though. They definitely earned this win and were the better team, hands down.
Yeah. It's just weird to see that everyone thinking the Broncos are going to come back and they're 0-2. God dang it. I have ESPN open. It keeps on playing. There's an ad, and it's the Burger King ad. Like, dun, 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 dun. I mute it, but then it just unmutes randomly. It's all I hear. It haunts me.
So, if you guys hear Whopper, you know who it is.
Don't say it because then we'll get copyright stricken. Anyway, next game: Dolphins versus Patriots, 24-17. Mac Jones is actually playing like not Mac Jones right now.
Yeah.
Which is surprising considering he's Mac Jones.
Yeah, I'm very disgusted with New England. What was the defense like? Okay, don't get me wrong. I respect Miami. They have a really good offense. I get it, but the defense, I expected you guys to like do better than this. Like I thought maybe hold them to 20 at max, and I know it's only 4 points more, but it's just the touchdown thing. It's like, man, you guys really missed on a few plays there that really had a huge impact. And as for Mac Jones, yeah, no, he's playing out of his mind compared to what we normally see out of him. He's finally getting into a groove with guys, like Devontae Parker and Hunter Henry, and Juju's even having a nice few plays.
Yeah. Ezekiel Elliott also is since he's on the team. But yeah, Mac Jones throwing 231 yards, 1 TD, 1 pick. Not so good in the touchdowns and picks ratio, but still did pretty solid. On the Dolphins end, though, they did very well.
They were the
To
Dolphins.
yeah, they were the Dolphins. 249 yards, 21 out of 30 attempts, 1 TD and 1 interception for Tua as well. But Raheem Mostert went off with 18 carries and 121 yards with 2 TDs. Wow. And
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill being Tyreek Hill, 4 receptions for 86 yards. 6
Also,
targets.
Jalen Waddle appreciation moment. 4 receptions for 86 yards off of 6
Wait,
targets. Like, that's what's up.
I just read Jalen Waddles. That's a Tyreek Hill.
I noticed that.
I was like, dang it. Yeah. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I really hope Jalen Waddle's injury does not affect this team that much.
It
Tua
might,
did
but I don't think so.
2 fumbles, but they did not get lost. Luckily. All right, next game, Saints versus Panthers. Saints win this game 20-17. Deserved?
Oh,
Yes or
man.
no?
This was a snooze fest in all reality. Sorry, guys, if you're a fan of either. It's like, the Saints, I mean, they outgritted Carolina in reality. So, congrats to them. Derek Carr had a pretty solid game. And then, the Saints, in terms of rushing yards, they really got Taysom Hill in a role to where he actually looks really comfortable. I mean, 9 carries for 75 yards. He's such a unique player. And the Saints defense was, prototypical. They played really sound defensively.
Yeah. Strangely enough, Derek Carr did not do that great this game. Scoring no touchdowns and 1 pick with 21 out of 36 attempts with 228 yards. But they got Tony Jones Jr. with 2 rushing touchdowns, and yeah, I'm sure they're happy that they got those too.
I mean,
Right.
I don't even think Carr's pick was his fault, to be honest with you. If I remember watching that correctly, I don't think Carr's pick was his fault. I think it was tipped.
Yeah, I think it was something like he didn't. Yeah, it was a tipped pass from the.
And he doesn't have to be perfect to win there. I mean, they can do enough. So it's kind of a
Right.
perfect situation. He can kind of like relax a little bit more and be the Derek Carr that we know saw him lead Oakland at the time to the playoff thing, and hopefully he can lead New Orleans back.
That's
Plus,
right,
that
kiddies.
catch by Chris Olave. Oh my god! I hope you guys saw that because that was
I did.
That was insane.
But as I was gonna say, yeah, that's right, kiddies. At one point, Oakland used to be the Raiders. Anymore, it's Vegas. It's so stupid.
Hell, Oakland used to have sports franchises until their owner stopped caring.
Right.
Tragic reality.
Last game, guys. I know it's sad that we have to talk about this game, but Browns versus Steelers. Steelers win this 26-22. This was when Nick Chubb broke all the bones in his leg. It's still tough to watch.
Yeah.
It's still really tough. Do you think that if he did not get injured, this game would have swayed in a different way?
Yeah. Nick Chubb's good for like 100, 110 yards a game, and he only had 60. So I mean, that's like another 10 attempts on top of that. That's a lot of clock, and that's a lot of Derrick Henry. I mean, a lot of Nick Chubb eating.
They're so similar.
Yeah, but one isn't hurt all the time. But when he gets hurt, it's for a while. So I guess it makes up for it.
Yeah. Do you guys think that Nick Chubb, him being injured, is going to affect the Browns season?
No. I think the Kareem Hunt signing was. I'm going to take Cole's conversation piece from earlier. No. Kareem Hunt being back and pick right up where he left off, and personally, I think Jerome Ford's a good 2, and he can slide in there with Kareem, so you don't have to have Kareem in full time. So it kind of works out. So the offensive aspect won't change.
Yeah, Chooch kind of said what I said, so that works both ways. I want to say though, this game was disappointing. In terms, obviously Nick Chubb's injury, but quarterback wise too, like Kenny Pickett and Deshaun Watson did not look good at all in this
No.
game. So
They
hats
kind
off
of
to the
played similar.
defenses. Yes.
They both kind of played like kind of similar stats. Pickett got 222, and then Deshaun got 235. With 1 TD and 1 interception, both of them got that. Deshaun Watson got sacked 6 times. So if that says anything, it says a lot.
Yeah,
Congrats, TJ Watt.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
TJ Watt went off a little bit. Whoever has
A
Pittsburgh
little?
defense in fantasy, hats off to you.
Yeah, they had quite a bit.
Yeah, all I can really remember from this game is the Nick Chubb stuff. That it was so messed up.
It's hard to think of anything else, really. I will say this: Amari Cooper had a pretty solid game against those corners too. So those were kind of the takeaways, though.
Plus, Jerome Ford was, he was good enough to step up and, be like, all right, it's time. Nick Chubb went down. Time to put on the helm.
Yep,
let's get out
it's
there.
my turn.
Yeah, didn't win it for Cleveland though, unfortunately. But yeah, that was it for the week 2 games. Time to go into our top 5 fantasy players for this week. Who wants to go first, or do you want me to go first, guys?
I got it.
All right.
So I'm gonna start off by
fantasy.
I'm gonna say it's starting off with a bounce back week from last week and a makeup week. Daniel Jones, 31.7 fantasy points.
Yeah,
my
especially
second one
last week.
Yeah, my second one's Keenan Allen, 27.1 points. Doing what he does every single week from a couple years ago in fantasy this week. So that's nice to see. Also, anyone who had DeAndre Swift in, out of sheer chance that he saw the ball a lot, kudos to you. And if you had Raheem Mostert in, you did good.
Yeah,
you did good.
All right. I'll do my top 5, and then Cole to go last. How about
sounds
that?
good.
All right. At number 5, I have Kenneth Walker with 17.90. I had to put him on my bench, so. Hey, he still wouldn't have made me win. He still wouldn't let me win, so I do not care. Baker Mayfield with 18.38 points popping off. Mike Evans definitely helped out with that, but nonetheless. And then Bijan Robinson with 19.20 popping off for me.
I still envy you on that.
Sorry, I'm not giving you Bijan. I'll give you to him if he's injured.
Hey, that counts
for the season. And then number 2, Keenan Allen, Jesus, I did amazing. God, just had to make it to the ground. Had to pummel me in there.
Number 2.
And then number 1, shut up, Cole. Number 1, Russell Wilson, my starting quarterback, with 26.92. I put him at number 1 just because the amount of stuff he's getting from last year, and then he didn't really do great week 1. So, hats off to you, Russ. Thank you. All right, Cole, you're up.
All right, my turn. I'm on the sticks. So for number 5, I'm gonna say Jordan Addison. he gets on my list because, I picked him up and I was like, maybe he'll be okay. He has been nothing but phenomenal for the last 2 weeks. Well, I should say this week. This week he put up 14 points. Last week he put up 14-10. He's been one of the biggest shocks in terms of what he has shown that I did not see coming. So he's my 5. Number 4, I'm gonna say CD Lamb. CD Lamb, let's just say him and Dak. I mean, again, take it for what it is. They didn't verse the, best opponents yet, yada yada yada. But CD Lamb has been balling out. He dropped 1980 this week, and let's just say he had me hoping, like really hoping towards the end that I could hang on against a very
Definitely,
tough
I do hope.
opponent. In the 1980 he put up did not help me at all. So thanks, CD, for giving me a minor heart attack. All right, my number 3, I'm gonna actually take a page out of Jacob's playbook. Nobody probably expected me to say this. Jared Goff. He has been utterly phenomenal
He's matured.
in terms
He's
of
matured.
in terms of fantasy, because last week he was like 18 points, and then this week he had 2392. So thankfully I didn't have to verse him last week, so we didn't run into that problem. But yeah, hats off to Jared Goff. He played incredible, and I hope he keeps it up. Number
going to.
2, I lot of hope there. Number 2, I'm gonna go to the man who single-handedly saved me in fantasy last week, Sam Howell. Yes, sir.
Bad big Mayfield.
21.26. Um, he just has to get in with his comments. I love this guy. But 21.26, he was efficient with the ball. He didn't turn it over, and he had 2 passing touchdowns. So, thank you, Sam Howell, for kicking ass. And last but not least, aka my number 1, the Dallas defense.
Yeah.
I don't think a whole lot needs to be said. They put up 34 last week. Sorry, Chooch and AJ. I got to remind you guys.
Yeah.
And then this week they put up 15 against the Jets. So yeah, anybody who has Dallas's defense is swimming in the riches right now.
Swimming in gold.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're ready to go
For
to
the
our
TED Talk.
yeah, for the ref TED Talk. Refs, bring it in. Because what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing to be exact? Now, for this one, I want you to listen in close. Now, this isn't my first time talking to you referees of sports, officiating crew, whatever you want to go by. You bum zebras. Read your rule books and remember what a hold is. Remember what PI is. And roughing the passer isn't hitting the guy as he's throwing it and calling it. That's weak. That's weak.
Or a sack. Roughing the passer is not a sack as well.
Exactly. How do you expect these guys to hit anymore? We're going to turn it to flag football? Or are you guys just that lazy you don't feel like, oh, it's pass interference? Come on. These calls are getting real soft now.
Yeah, and not even soft, just even uncalled. Like how I said with the Aiden Hutchinson thing for the Lions game. The fact that, it was so noticed by every person watching, and somehow a person, like, how many refs are there in a game? Like 10?
A lot.
Yeah, like 10, 15 refs are on the field watching almost every play or every player, except for one guy that's the most crucial part of that play, getting held the whole time. Like, I get mad just thinking about it. Like, you need to open your eyes.
It's all the holding calls. It's all the face masks. Also, let these guys hit again, please, because we're ruining careers by letting these guys go after legs.
Yeah.
There needs to be some sort of targeting call for hitting down low, in my opinion, but that's just me.
Also, can we talk about the missed pass interferences as well? Like, especially in the
Yeah.
Denver-Washington game, that was one of the most blatant pass interference calls that they did not call, and it impacted a game.
I'll one
Way
up
to go,
you
Zebras.
from week 1 with the Bills and Jets game. Remember, we were watching that live, and someone held a player. I don't.
There were
I think
3 blocking
Snyder
the
was in the game.
backs.
Yeah. And in the Lions and Seahawks game, I don't know why I keep on going back to this. A guy tripped a player, like actually just tripped a player going towards a ball, and nothing was called upon. Nothing happened.
Not one.
Literally tripped him from behind, and nothing. Like, oh, all right, nothing unusual here.
We're all good here.
I have a yellow ribbon in my pocket, but I won't call that out. That can literally change the whole course of a game.
That's another thing too. Have you guys noticed that it's either like there's 10 million penalties in a game or there's like 5?
Yeah, I don't get it either. How there's like, because the worst was the Hall of Fame game.
Yes.
With literally, I think like every play had a flag. I'm so positive. And then Lions and Chiefs game come. All right, first regular season game. It's gonna be exciting. Every play there should have been a flag, but there's no flag called upon, especially with the offensive lineman, whoever his name was, literally stepping back every single play.
Jawan Taylor.
Jawan Taylor. Nothing happening from that. Aiden Hutchinson getting held. Nothing from that. The other D lineman getting held. Nothing happening from that. Like, the refs need to find a balance and actually know what a flag is at this point, because I don't even know if they know at this point.
I think Chooch has the nail on the head when it comes to this. Chooch, do you want to tell them your idea?
Which one was it? I forget.
About every game should have a
every team, there should be a guy assigned to every team that watches every play. And I forget what I was saying about this. But I remember that part. Oh, he should. Oh yeah, he should be in the booth, like on the headset with the head coaches, or on the headset with like one of the officials. Like those two should have a thing about it.
How would you feel if they did it somewhat like baseball? You know how in baseball, if if the person isn't sure if they made it to first base or not, so then they send it to New York and they sort of examine it, make sure it's actually if he made it to first base or not, and then if it's safe or not. Do you think they should do something like that?
I mean, they kind of already have it,
but instead of like just the refs looking at it, because we've seen it happen multiple times in college and in the NFL.
I think there should be penalties. Like I think they got PI right. With that, targeting obviously has to be reviewed. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly.
You're right.
But like there should be other like certain plays in big situations. Like, hey, like this looks like there was hold here. And like if they're not sure of it and they're going to pick it up, they should have to go review it. I don't care how much longer it makes the game. You're going to get it right. Get it right.
Yeah, it's just some penalties are so. How would I really describe this? So
hit or miss.
Yeah, it's like, how can you tell if something is targeting or just someone got tripped and then hit his head on a person or anything like that, or holding? I think we're seeing this season is like what holding actually is.
Yeah, I mean, it's so iffy anymore on what even is a penalty, like you guys were saying, because it's like you could see the same play happen in 2 different games, and one set of referees calls it a penalty, and the other set lets it play, and it's like that can't happen if you want your sport to be taken legitimately. You gotta have a universal agreement on a certain type of a play.
Yeah. I think we also seen like the biggest example of like the biggest timed play the thing that meant the most was last year's Super Bowl
Yep.
with that holding. I don't know how it was holding. He literally just grabbed a jersey and let go 0.2 seconds later. But I hear some people's arguments, and I don't think that at all. Like I don't really find that argument at all.
Like, how could you call it at the biggest game? Like, it
In the
literally
last
cost the
play,
team
like
a
some of the
ring.
last plays, he wasn't even gonna make it, even if he did hold him. Like
Yeah.
I don't. It was the biggest moment for the Chiefs, and then that's when you call a flag. Not any of the other moments and earlier, but that's when you call a flag. Okay.
Well, and on top of that too, like, uh, I I was talking with, I think, Chooch. I was talking with you this week about what is an improvement they could do with the refs, and you brought up how the MLB has like a scorecard with umpires.
Oh
If
yeah,
they did that with NFL play or officials,
yeah,
I think we would have a lot more of a even playing fields and referees actually being afraid for their job of making the wrong call on purpose.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes too much sense to not
Something
do it.
has to be done.
Yeah,
Also, the it's kind of like umpires in base. I don't know why we keep on coming back to baseball, like comparing it to that.
Because they have it
But
right, I
like
think.
umpires in baseball have a lot of power. But I think, yeah, but refs have so much more power. I feel like because because we don't know how easy it is to bribe a referee. You know,
Right.
some guy coming in, hey, I'll give you $1,000 if you do this. If you have the Browns win, I'll like because what real way could you track that unless they either confessed or someone told them that.
Yeah, I
Like, oh,
mean, you don't have a
that's why he did a
system.
pass interference when the guy wasn't even touching anybody. Wide open receiver, pass interference. Okay.
Kadarius Toney drops another pass interference.
I mean, yeah, the pass was interfered. He didn't catch it. It was an interfered pass. But yeah, I don't like any other like there needs to be something done, something official, because every other tactic that the NFL put in is like, all right, this time the refs are going to get everything right. There's nothing missed calls, like booth reviews. When that was brought in, it was like, okay, this is going to change everything. Did nothing. Plays are still called like incomplete, even though their 2 feet are in. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Plays are still called touchdown or no touchdown, even though the ball is clearly in the end zone
And
or
keep in
not in
mind
the end zone.
too, like, we have technology to go back to literally any play and see it, and it's like you're telling me we can see from so many angles. It's not like it's just one angle. Okay, was he in on this catch? Was this a fumble? Was this player's knee down? Like, we have so many views in so many different areas to where we can see clearly on every play. It should never come into question about, oh, is this a catch, or was this really holding? Like, this is ridiculous. This should not be a thing.
Yeah, especially because if it's high school, it's like okay, yeah. But once you get to
Right.
college, it's like there should be no mistakes made at all when it comes to this type of stuff. If a catch is made, dude, the imprints of both of his feet are literally on the green.
Looking at you,
The
LSU, Alabama 2010 or
yeah,
2009, not 10.
but I remember when they had to specify what a catch was when Calvin Johnson caught stuff.
Yeah,
Remember that? When they
we're
had
Des Bryant.
that was
yeah.
a catch.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. but it's just unbelievable. I feel like this year's been the worst for a long time. Like last year was
Agreed.
bad. Last year was really bad when like sacks were getting called roughing the passer, even though it was like the most gentle thing ever. Literally like holding you, like tackle you, like basically hugging you really hard, and then just like laying you down like a baby. That's what happened. Roughing the passer, very aggressive.
Yeah, the worst roughing the passer call of all time, in my opinion, was when Tom Brady was playing the Falcons and the Grady Jarrett literally tackled him with the ball in his hand, and the refs were like, "Yeah, no, that's roughing."
Yeah, the thing is that there are no like official like what is roughing the passer, what is holding, what is pass interference. It's just like, oh, if it looks like a vague description, then yeah, you can throw a flag.
See, and how is that so? Because, okay, if you watch college, because if you know anything about it or have been watching this for a while, Chooch and I, well, me, I'm a little bit more college, and Chooch is a little bit in the middle, and Jacob's a little bit more NFL. If you watch college, we have targeting down to a literal science. Like, the rule is defined. How is no other penalty as defined as targeting? It doesn't make sense.
Every penalty, especially how much a penalty can wager on who wins a game,
Mhm.
should have a really clear and decisive decision.
That's because
Not-
it's.
You
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go.
I was gonna say it's because it's personal preference from the referees at that point. Like I like a more physical brand of football, so I'm gonna like DBs kind of being a little bit more physical and stuff. But like obviously not like throwing each other around. But the receivers, corners can be physical, so on and so forth. Maybe a tad bit late hitting, but not like super late. You draw the line. A lot of these refs do a good job at drawing the lines in the sand early in games. I think some of these refereeing crews kind of forgot how to do that, and then it gets way out of hand.
True.
Because like
How would you
remember back in
feel-
the day, the first quarter was almost, hey, you can't do that. That's a little excessive. Like you could tell by like the first couple drives of what you were going to get for refereeing crew. Now you don't know.
How would you feel? I thought about this a little bit ago, like a week ago. How would you feel if referees were former NFL players
Meh.
or reviewers at least?
Reviewers should be officials like Gene
Or-
Steratore.
Because I don't know why referees expect these 290-pound defensive linemen to like fully like run top speed at a quarterback and then throw the ball and then immediately stop. Like they're not just running as fast as they can 0.2 seconds ago.
Right.
Because all right, with roughing the passer for me, if you like wait until the ball's thrown, you can clearly see that the ball is thrown and that like it's gone, and then like 3 seconds 4 seconds later you're still like trying to tackle him, that's roughing the passer. But when you have a guy running top speed and then he throws the ball and then gets tackled like a second later, that's not roughing the passer to me. That's a guy who really wants to get a sack on his stat sheet.
I like how you describe that because I picture like this big, like
This Aaron Donald slash Aiden Hutchinson slash Nick Bosa slash TJ Watt.
he's just like jumping around like as a kid, like I want the sack.
But yeah, there needs to be a definite real change.
Absolutely.
But yeah. Will that be it for us? I think
Yes,
so.
sir. Take us
So,
home.
we had a great episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. We are gonna put. If you guys want to check out our social medias like Instagram or Twitter or join our Discord, the link will be in a low to our link tree. I hope you guys had a fun time listening. This is Jay from JCP, and we are out.
God bless y'all.
Whee!